Good morning. On this day, the world was still wrapped in snow. Everything felt softer, quieter, like time had slowed down just enough for me to breathe in the present. There's something about holding a camera that makes you feel like a witness, like I'm capturing pieces of life that might otherwise go unnoticed. A sunset, a quiet moment of reflection, a breakthrough thought. I want to document it all, but at the same time, there's a voice in the back of my mind whispering, should I? Matthew 6 verse 6 lingers there like an ever-present question. But when you pray, go into your room, close the door, and pray to your Father who is unseen. Then your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you. The weight of it sits heavily because I don't want to be someone who performs. I don't want to be someone who mistakes the applause of others for the approval of God. I want to believe that what I do in public is simply an outflow of what I do in private. That the prayers, the reflections, the moment of inspiration I capture on camera are just glimpses of a much deeper reality happening behind the scenes. And yet, because I'm hyper self-aware, I can't help but question, am I deceiving myself? I don't think it's wrong to film. If anything, I'd probably do even more dramatic things when no one is watching. The same fire, the same intensity, the same weight of conviction in my private world. There are no cameras, but there's still an audience of one. And yet, the back and forth remains. Should I keep filming and posting? Should I document the journey or let it unfold in secret? Maybe the real question isn't whether I should film, but whether I trust myself to remain true, to ensure that the presence of a camera never becomes a filter between me and God. Maybe the work isn't just in deciding to share or not share. Maybe the work is in making sure that who I am when no one is watching is always deeper, fuller, and richer than what I ever let the world see. So I wrestle, I reflect, and keep moving forward, filming or not. I know this. The unseen moments will always matter more. But if God can use the seen to point others back to the unseen, then maybe I don't need to be afraid of either. I think part of the reason I wrestle with this so much is because deep down, I don't fully trust myself. It's not that I believe I'm performing, not in the way people think of performance. I know that if the camera were never there, I would be doing the same things. I'd still be meditating on lyrics, still whispering prayers under my breath. That part of me is real. That part of me is solid. And yet, there is this lingering fear that somehow, in ways I might not fully perceive, I could be deceiving myself. Because self-awareness is a tricky thing. When you are self-aware, like I am, you don't just live, you constantly observe yourself living. You analyze your own actions, you question your own motives, you replay your own words in your head. There's a never-ending mirror in front of you, reflecting not just on what you do, but why you do it, how it looks, how it might be perceived, how it fits into the larger story of your life. And sometimes that mirror warps things. Sometimes it makes it harder to trust whether something is genuine or just, well, curated. I know the depth of my prayer life with God. I know the tears shed in secret, the prayers whispered when no one is watching, the times I've wrestled with Him in the quiet. I know that my faith isn't just a thing I put on for an audience. But what if I start to believe my own presentation more than my private reality? What if one day the lines blur so much that I can't tell whether I'm showing what's my real life or the version of me I want to believe? I think that's where the Matthew 6 verse 6 fear comes in. But when you pray, go into your room, close the door and pray to your Father who is unseen. Because if the unseen version of me is deeper, richer, fuller than the version that the world sees, then what am I really standing on? And in the midst of all these thoughts, I'm letting myself be childlike, something I don't always give myself permission to do in this sense. I walked through the park, my steps crunching against the icy ground, my breath visible in the cold air, and then without thinking too much about it, I sat on swings. I don't do that often. Maybe because I know motion sickness will eventually catch up to me. Maybe because adulthood has a way of making us feel like swings are for children, like there's something impractical about just being, about playing, about existing in the moment for no reason other than joy. But this day I let myself enjoy it anyway. I let myself be present. I let myself swing higher. And for a few sacred minutes, I wasn't thinking about productivity, about the next step, about whether I'm being watched or whether the moment needed to be documented. I was just there. And yet, even as I filmed, even as I captured the snow-covered stillness, even as I swung, the tension remained. Would this moment be less real if I didn't record it? Would the holiness of the present be diminished if I didn't share it with others? Or worse, would filming distort what was pure? Because here is holy, right? And if here is holy, does that mean I should keep it untouched, unseen? Or does it mean holiness isn't lost in the sharing, only in the motives behind it? I know this. My storms won't shake me. My anchor holds. My foundation is firm. So maybe the real work isn't in whether I film or not, but in making sure that what is unseen is always greater, deeper, and richer than what is shown. Maybe the real question isn't whether I should document it, but whether I can trust myself to remain true, to ensure that the presence of a camera never replaces the presence of God. Because if here is holy, then God is already here, whether seen or unseen, whether recorded or remembered only by Him. And maybe that's enough. The fear isn't just about pride, it's about integrity. I want to be the same person in private as I am in public. I want my off-camera life to be so much more weighty than my on-camera moments, and it is. I don't want to be someone who shares profound insights with the world, but neglects to live them out when no one is watching. And the scary thing about self-deception is that you don't always see it happening. You think you are being real. You think you are being honest. You think you're sharing from an overflow. But what if one day the public moments become so intertwined with my faith that I can't separate them anymore? What if I start needing validation of sharing more than the depth of my private devotion? What if I get so used to the visible moments that I stop treasuring the hidden ones? So I wrestle. Not because I don't love what I'm doing, not because I think filming is wrong, not because I believe I'm being fake, but because I never want to reach a point where I stop questioning myself. I never want to assume that I'm above the slow drift into performative faith. I never want the filmed moments to be proof of my relationship with God, because here is holy, but it was holy long before the camera was ever rolling. Maybe the point isn't about whether I film or not. Maybe the real work is in making peace with tension, letting it keep me grounded rather than letting it paralyze me. Because if I wait until I have no doubts, no questions, no wrestling before I do anything, I will be waiting forever. So instead of trying to resolve it completely, maybe I just need to live with the awareness to just keep checking in, keep surrendering, keep making sure my private life with God remains the root and not the fruit. Maybe instead of seeing this as a struggle I need to resolve, I see it as a gift. A reminder that I care enough to question, that I care enough to guard what is sacred, that I care enough to never let the seen replace the unseen. So I'll keep walking, keep filming when it feels right, keep holding back when it doesn't, not from fear, not from doubt, but from the quiet confidence that whatever I do, whether seen or unseen, God sees, and that's enough. And that's it for today. And so I'm thinking I'm just gonna be doing it from a podcast point of view. I probably wouldn't have my face, so it's just be audio recording. But I do have lots of videos that I've already made, but I've not posted it yet. So I might post those, but I think I'll just go do loads of audios from now on. And I would, see you tomorrow in an audio format. Or maybe a video, we'll never know.
Open forward, heart in line, soul on fire, watch me shine. In His grace I find my way, every step a brighter day. Those steps between realize, building dreams and reaching skies. In the light I walk this road, faith and truth my steady code. To be fun, watch me soar.